The following is a production of Role Playing Public Radio, slangdesign.com/RPPR.
Go there.
Yes. And anyways, welcome to our first episode of the new and improved second edition Role Playing Public Radio. I'm Ross Payton. And
I'm Tom Church.
Yeah.
You knew that.
And of course, we're here to give you all the hot news from Gencon, which is happened several weeks ago, but we're here to talk about it anyways.
We just now got around to it.
Yeah, of course, everyone knows the huge, incredible, important gaming news. Call of Cthulhu, am I right? Of course, obviously, the real news is Dungeons & Dragons, the 4th edition. But for me, my favorite experience at Gen Con was playing Call of Cthulhu. Many sessions with Shane Ivey of Pagan Publishing and Scott Glancy.
Staggering back into that hotel room late at night like you just got off a bad date.
Yes, exactly. It was a good time by all. So first we're going to talk about our general impressions of Gen Con, what we saw, what we learned, and if you're going next year, which I recommend, what you should look for. And then, of course, Tom has a special presentation to I'll let him get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into it later. Let's go to Gen Con first.
Okay. Anyways, this was my first Gen Con ever this year, and this is, of course, the 40th anniversary of Gen Con.
We picked a good time to go.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous, even without the big announcement from D&D. It was just nonstop gaming seminars, meeting new people, and actually not feeling like a freak for carrying around a bunch of RPGs and D20s in your backpack.
Gaming sensory overload, definitely.
Yeah. I have to say my favorite part was playtesting a new Call of Cthulhu scenario from Scott Glancy, the last flight of L-58, which was a Zeppelin in World War I, a German Zeppelin.
And anyone who thinks you don't learn things from gaming, I know more about Zeppelins now than I ever did.
Yeah, no joke. It is a very interesting scenario. And of course, this is a playtest, so it'll probably change by the time you see it in print. But I think we had 8 players altogether, and we went for it was like a 7-hour scenario. It was kind of a marathon. I kind of felt like I was in a Zeppelin by the end of it. Of course, I was the first to die, I'm proud to say. I fell screaming. My character fell screaming to his death at 10,000 feet. And,
Ross is proud of things like this.
Yes, I sympathize. It was one too many failed dex checks, which is to say I failed one dex check and one climbing check, and off I went into down into the wild blue yonder. It was a good time.
But you died for the fatherland, and that in the end was the important thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a fun scenario, and I can't wait to spring it on my own players whenever it comes out. So, Tom, what about you? What was your highlight of Gen Con?
Well, for everyone who knows, I'm a huge whore for mutants and masterminds, and meeting the creators of that was kind of a nice experience. But I have to say, the Call of Cthulhu thing was one of my definite highlights too.
Yeah, and you were it was sort of a last minute thing. I just sort of asked if you had room. I'm on the Delta Green emailing list, and I saw the ad for it there, and I signed up. But Tom was just kind of a last minute addition, and so that was good times by all.
Oh yes, I latecomer to everything as always.
I also tried out the new Delta Green scenario, Dead God's Hand, or at least part of it. It's a little too long for convention, but it's from the new Delta Green book, Eyes Only, which is a compilation of the 3 chapbooks that are basically impossible to find. They're like $200 on eBay if you can find a copy, which is not too frequent. So they're reprinting them, and they're adding some new material. And I really enjoyed the scenarios, really getting interesting when we had to quit. Shane ran it for 2 nights for about 4 hours each. So about 8 hours altogether. We were only about 2/3 into it. So it was still fun. It was still interesting because the whole investigating the murders and all this other fun stuff. So
and of course, the inevitable tangents that players go off on.
Oh, yeah. We were a little too active in investigating the murders. And so I found out later, apparently, we were doing too much, and the GM couldn't just fast forward through the NPC timeline and wait for the NPCs to actually act. So.
Too active an investigation. I doubt you're going to hear that working for the FBI.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was fun. See what else? There were quite a few seminars and workshops.
Yeah, the podcasting ones we went to. Not that we actually need anyone to tell us how to do a podcast. Am I right?
Oh yeah. Well, no, they're good people. They're everyone.
Very good people. Yes.
Yeah. Sons of Cryos, Pulp Gamer. Everyone seemed very open, just wanting to be a community and hang out and have fun, all that other stuff. Not competitive at all. Which
it was gorgeous.
Yes. And let's see here. I saw a lot of the costumes running around. Those were great. I loved the fact that I saw Venture Brother costumes, the Monarch and some of the butterflies.
That was certainly interesting. And lots of Naruto, or however the heck you pronounce that.
Naruto.
Very. How do you know that, Ross?
Shut up. It's on cartoon. No. I heard a new term for Naruto fans, Narutards, which I think is very apt.
It's good. It's good.
Right. I made fun of Naruto fans. Yeah.
Why didn't you say that? That was one of the highlights.
Well, I don't know. Let's see here. How to write an adventure that doesn't suck.
Definitely a good one.
That was
a crowded one too.
Goodman Games hosted that. It was fun. Packed. Both Tom and I were there. It was like 62 people in one of those.
It was standing room only in there.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I just saw today that another website has posted an MP3 of the seminar, so we'll link that on RPPR, but definitely take a listen to that. It was fun. I got to ask a question. I'm the jerk who asked about the making memorable NPCs in particular. Which, an armless orc.
We have had many of those in our careers.
Yes, I even got to make a really bad joke about attacks of opportunity. You see, the orc didn't have arms, so he took attack of opportunities whenever he attacked because he was disarmed. Huh? Yeah, okay.
Yes, Ross was summarily beaten for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the way this thing happens. Lots of upcoming stuff we're all looking forward to.
Yes.
Never mind the 4th edition of which is, like I said, that's the Holy Grail news everyone heard about.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to?
Well, most certainly some Mutants or Mastermind stuff. In particular, the Iron Age Heroes book, which is the scenario set in the ultra-violent 80s and early 90s.
Yeah, the whole Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns.
Scarface kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can dig that.
Certainly looking forward to that.
What else? I picked up Rain, Greg Stoll's new fantasy game with the one-roll engine. I'm reading through it right now. It's very interesting because it's built from the ground up to incorporate organizations, which the game calls companies, which can be cults, armies, mercenary companies, anything, any sort of organization, and you can have them go to war. And it looks pretty interesting. I want to try it out sometime. What else? Let's of course being a World of Warcraft player, I got to try Wrath of the Lich King. It was very neat, very pretty, and StarCraft 2. Which I'm not Korean, so I can't really say I'm a huge...
Now, Ross, don't sell yourself short. One does not have to be Korean to enjoy that.
Well, yeah, I guess so, but I've never been a huge fan of the RTS, real-time strategy games. I don't know, the whole click order, build order menus, it's... I don't know. How about you?
Well, I don't play World of Warcraft, and I have StarCraft and thoroughly enjoy that, but I've been enjoying that since it came out back in 1997.
Yeah, so they're sort of overdue for a sequel.
Yes, indeed.
The Booth Babes, they were pretty good for Conan. And
some really awesome artwork there, too, I must say.
Let's see, what other games came out? A lot of pen and paper RPGs. I wanted to pick up Cold City. I forgot to... I picked up some of the new stuff from Pazio, Pathfinder. That was fun because the way they're designing adventures is really interesting. I've been reading the book, and I'm probably not going to run it myself, but I can see a lot of ideas I can use from it.
And for those that are into card games, I don't think neither Ross and I are, but anything you can imagine, they've got a card game for it now.
Yeah,
I guarantee you.
Yeah, especially if it's anime.
Or if you're into sewer management, there's probably a card game out for that.
Yeah, I bet. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see. What else were we getting? Oh, there were a couple of, I wouldn't say low points, but there are some things. Colonel Lou Zaki had this game seminar about how to sell your game design, and it was more oriented towards board games than really
Well, actually, it
RPGs.
was pretty much entirely board games.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
never even mentioned RPGs.
yeah. That's maybe once or twice in passing, but he's kind of like your old uncle at a family reunion who tells you, "Oh, you should get into plastics." Here's this one guy I had to deal with, and he
When
just
I was your age, I was 12.
Yeah, exactly.
Things like that. Yes.
yeah, kind of rambling on, kind of interesting, but I mean it's Gen Con, and I wanted to get out and do other things, but I don't know, it wasn't too bad. Oh, I saw a copy of Campaign for North Africa at one of the booths, which is this ridiculously complex war game where they have rules for water evaporation. And the Italian units use more water than the German units because they need water to boil spaghetti. These are actual rules in the game. And I wanted to buy it so bad, but it was $300. So
And that's a bit of money for low class geeks like us.
I don't know. It just that game, just the idea that a game that insane exists taunts me. It taunts me in my dreams. I tried some of the other new games out. Again, new Pazio stuff. I picked up a bunch of used games, like a lot of transhuman space stuff. Really good sci-fi
Yeah.
material.
The old edition GURP stuff, we're going for a song.
Yeah, third edition. Yeah, just like there's one booth with 3 for $10. Anyways, so overall, I had a blast just seeing all this stuff. And next year, those weren't the only seminars I went to. Went to some one-ons on freelance writing, writers in the marketplace, career stuff, and it was pretty interesting to talk to some of these game designers and writers.
Because everyone wants to write.
Yes.
Just like everyone wants to direct. But
Yes, exactly. And nowadays, everyone wants to produce. So yeah, it was a blast. And again, Call of Cthulhu is a great game, especially for conventions, actually, because it's the system's a lot simpler than D&D, and you can kill players off easily, and they'll accept it.
and even after you die, it's often fun just to stick around and see how many more make it through the meat grinder.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote part of the Goodman Games Dungeon Crawl Classic tournament scenario, which apparently went off very well. I'm glad to hear about it. I just got word back that Goodman Games will be releasing the module. It's called Chronicles of the Fiend. They'll be doing it this year because they want to get it out before 4th Ed. So if you get a chance, pick it up. We one of the last Goodman Games scenarios ever produced for 3.5, and my work is in it. So obviously, it's a class product.
This is what we call blatant self-promotion.
Yes.
But that's another lesson we learned at Gencon is blatant self-promotion.
Blatant self-promotion. That's a good, pass out business cards. Be like, hey.
Even if you don't have a business, have some business cards.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, it was just awesome. So anyways, that's sort of our report on Gen Con. Do you have anything else you want to add, Tom?
You do have to pay to get in, mind you that.
Well, of course. Yeah, so anyways, since then, I have been... I actually, one bit of business, sort of relating to our next bit. Shane Ivey, the Arc Dreams publisher, I'm sorry, he's not Pagan publishing Arc Dreams. He is also publishing Monsters and Other Childish Things. And I managed to talk to him, and he is... I'm working for Monsters and Other I'm writing a scenario for Monsters and Other Childish Things. I'm happy to announce, and so look forward to that. It's a great game. Of course, again, more of the blatant self-promotion. I've been running a campaign of it pretty much this summer. Well, not since I think July.
Early July is when you started it, yeah.
And Tom's been in it, and we've had a few other players, and it's a really fun game.
If you got the right group, of course.
Yeah, it's a character-based game, so you're not really how should I say this? Not just killing orcs or killing bad guys and looting their bodies. It's about who your character is and how they relate to the other characters. The most fun part of the game so far has been the players bitching at each other over, oh my god, I can't believe you did this and you did that and I hate you now, and
Like, thank you, Dawson's Creek.
except they have bloodthirsty monsters at their beck and call.
And Dawson's Creek, come on, that would have been better with that.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I would have to say I didn't know you were a big Dawson's Creek fan, Tom.
There's a lot of things you don't know about me, Ross. You could fill the Grand Canyon with things you don't know about me, as said Kevin Smith.
Well, yeah. So one thing I've figured out, though, one of the sort of difficulties of this game, is each character is not only a kid but also a monster. The kid and the monster are friends, obviously, sort of like Calvin and Hobbes. Only Hobbes is a Lovecraftian monster. The problem is the player has to roleplay both of them, and it's sort of a problem, especially because at certain points the player will be talking to himself, and that's sort of a challenge for a lot of players. So I've instituted this house rule where each player roleplays someone else's monster, so the players are talking to each other instead of to themselves. And so far, we've done one session of that so far, and it's worked out really good.
I still play my own.
Yeah, I mean, it's an optional rule, but the other players have really enjoyed it. Of course, I can't say I am a brilliant game designer who thought of this all on his own. I actually ripped this off from Wraith, the White Wolf game, which...
someone else plays your Spectre.
Yes, or your Shadow,
yes.
or whatever the term is. And I thought, wow, that would be a good idea, because the monster really is sort of an alter ego for the kid. It's not totally analogous, but it's interesting. So, anyways, we'll be talking more about monsters and other childish things in future episodes.
As long as Ross is running it, yes, we will be talking about it.
If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you want to run monsters, if you want to hear more about it, please email us or leave a comment on our website. We'd be happy to blather on about it for quite some time. I know I will, since I'm actually writing for it.
For those who just tuned in, what's the name of that address again?
slangdesign.com/RPPR. Which,
you say that good.
Yes. Of course, it'd be kind of interesting. How would people get this podcast if they didn't know the address to the website?
Ross, strange things happen. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, that's true. At any rate, I think we're ready for Tom's little segment. What do you have? Letters? What is it called?
It's like, well, I'm calling it Letters from Tom.
Okay. And why don't you tell us about it, Tom?
Well, it's basically where I try to prove my penmanship mastery and mastery of the awesome writing skills to write some BS letters addressed to various role-playing game characters and things like that.
Okay. Sounds good. So, are you ready to read it?
It's like, yeah, I think we can get that started here pretty soon.
Okay. Back in a jiff.
Dear Cthulhu, let me first say that I am a huge admirer of all you have accomplished. In only a few short decades, you have become the most famous, well-known cosmic horror of all time. Even though you are only a high priest of the old ones like Azathoth and Yog-Sothoth, they may as well be groupies to your enormous fan base. Even though your form is difficult for frail mortal minds to contemplate, the majority of people recognize you by sight. It's not hard to see why. Your sanity-sapping visage adorns all manner of merchandise, from plushies to t-shirts, posters, video games, bumper stickers, and even funny hats. I myself possess a pair of house slippers with your face looking up at me. Every time I pat around my house wearing them, I feel a little bit more of my tenuous grip on reality slip away, and it thrills me to no end. Even more comforting than your non-Euclidean inspired merchandise is how much you and I have in common. You may not realize this, but I too seek fanatical loyalty from the hordes of degenerate backwoods folk, and desperately seek their worship. We both love beachfront property, and we both have an interest in ancient artifacts of unspeakable purpose and power. But most of all, we both hate Norwegian fishermen with a boating kamikaze tendency. It's because of all this that I believe we have a connection between us, the kind of bond that soulmates share. It's for this bond that I feel close enough to ask you this question. Where can you go from here? With all the attention you've garnered over the years, I fear your popularity may have peaked. Everyone knows where you live, and everyone knows about your long-term plans to drive humanity into madness. No one, not even a cosmic horror, can ride on that popularity forever. I know that your next video game is stalled indefinitely, and that is one of the first signs of a flagging fan base. But don't worry, for I have the solution. I don't do this for just anyone, but we have a special bond, so I feel I can help you. I want to be your PR manager. I know I have a reputation as an uncreative hack, probably made evident from the fact that I stole this whole Letters from Tom bit from the Henry Rollins show. But don't worry, I still have plenty of ideas to keep you in the limelight. For example, why not show off your island home of Relay, or however the heck you pronounce that, on MTV's Cribs, or some other similar show? Lots of people would love to have a guided tour of the unimaginable space salt towers that you call home. Afterwards, you could then devour the MTV crew. Jaded television viewers gobble that kind of spectacle up as voraciously as you gobble up helpless peons. Or perhaps you could reveal a bit more about yourself to the public. We know some things, like your taste in food and decor, but it would really blow people away if you publicly announced that you love the show Desperate Housewives. Or, and I know this is a bit of a stretch, you could start a celebrity relationship with a Hollywood starlet. We could even have a combination name to it, like Angela Thulu or Cathode. It doesn't have to be Angelina or Jodie Foster, but you get the idea. I have many other ideas, and I am sure I can help you stay in the limelight. Or you could just devour me. I would be honored to do both. Sincerely, Tom.
And that was Letters from Tom, right? Or is it Letter from Tom?
Letters from Tom. It's
Letters
just like Letters from Henry from the Henry Rollins show, for
Right.
anyone who watches that.
Because you're a horrible hack, right?
Well, exactly. I think I've made this clear on many occasions.
Okay. Well, we're going to end the show on, I think, a segment we're going to end every show with from now on. And it's called basically the gaming anecdote. This is a staple of gaming culture. The stories of how your favorite character died or killed a bad guy, or that incredibly awesome natural 20 or that equally lame natural 1. And so we're going to do something from a campaign I ran recently. Actually, it ended last year. It's Masks of... No, it ended this February. I started it last year. Masks of Nyarlathotep.
Meat grinder scenario, if there ever was one. Yes, let me tell you.
Not just a scenario.
Well, yes. Well, fine.
It lasted 6 months, and its reputation is well deserved. I'll tell you that. We had about a dozen PCs die or go permanently insane in it, and it was fun. But my single favorite time, I think, or one of the top 3 easily, took place in the London chapter. And
Now, before we tell this, I would like you to know, most of the time, I play a pretty decent person in games.
except the monsters and other childish things where you're playing a trenchcoat mafioso type character, right?
Okay, well, there's that time. Okay.
And the time you harvested the organs of our dead enemy so you could sell them on the black market.
The GM didn't provide us with any money. I was helping the group.
Right. I'm sure I'll think of something else out. But anyways.
Yes, I'm sure you will.
Anyways, in this particular chapter, they're in London. They're trying to find the Cult of the Bloody Tongue, I think. No, it's the Black Pharaoh. And any of those cults all sound alike.
They blend together.
Yeah.
They all want to destroy
They all
everything.
worship Nyarlathotep. They're all evil. They're all crazy as hell. Anyways.
And therefore, they're all crazy and evil. They should be killed, which was exactly my philosophy upon entering this situation.
Yeah, Tom had tracked one of the cultists down, a sorcerer down into his cover. The sorcerer's cover was a tea shop owner in London. And why don't you walk us through it, Tom? Well, why don't you describe it? Go for it.
Well, I forget the details on how I found out this guy was a cultist, but I did.
Yeah.
And I decided that one less cultist on our tail would be a good thing. And just so you know, I'd also recently discovered an Aklo incantation.
Well, in game mechanics wise, it was the shriveling spell. I just gave it a different name.
Oh, good job, Ross.
Yeah, I like to mix things up. Anyways.
But anyway, yes, I had whatever the heck he just said.
This shriveling spell.
Exactly.
Yeah, shriveling.
And I was throwing it around a lot like a kid who just found his dad's gun. I was using on anyone that looked at me wrong.
Yeah, you were, and losing quite a bit of sanity too.
But sanity, what's that in a Call of Cthulhu game?
Yeah.
So I figured I'd go there and deal with him, and I decided to just walk in and use it right there. And darn the luck if he didn't have defenses against it.
Yeah, using a magic spell against another sorcerer doesn't really work out because they're very resistant to that sort of thing. So, Tom, it didn't work. And so what'd you do next when the sorcerer realized that you were trying to kill him?
Well, as most criminals do when their plans don't go immediately according to plan, I panicked and had the only thing at hand, which happened to be a steel-headed walking cane, and proceeded to beat him to death with it.
Yeah, you chased him up to his apartment upstairs above the tea shop, and there you beat him to death, and it was really bloody. I really emphasized that.
Well, I kept hitting him for several minutes, and
That's right. You had to be sure he was dead.
or it might have just been I really enjoyed doing it. I don't remember which.
Yeah.
But let us just say it was pretty serious Charles Manson kind of
yeah,
stuff.
but this is London, middle of the day, downtown, nice tea shop, nice part of town. So, of course, I had a customer walk in.
Well, as I believe you first rolled the dice and then started laughing hysterically when you saw the result.
Yeah, I think I made a luck check, and Tom just failed miserably on that.
I did. Yes,
Yeah.
I did. And so the lovely upper-class woman came in to buy tea for her wedding.
Yes.
How lovely.
And, of course, Tom was covered in blood.
And the bitch would not go away.
Yeah, she was very insistent about that. I was pretty pleased with that. So what'd you do, Tom? How'd you deal with the woman?
Well, I tried to use the minuscule amount of persuade and fast talk I had, which is I didn't put any points into it.
Yeah, like 15%, something like that.
And the dice were kicking me in the nuts that day.
Yeah.
So she didn't bite and decided to go check upstairs to see if the owner was there.
And guess what she saw? A bloodied, your character, covered in blood with holding a bloody cane. And
Like,
the dead body of the tea shop owner.
well, I did what any self-respecting investigator in Call of Cthulhu would do.
And what's that, Tom?
I beat her to death.
That's right, you did. You did kill her.
I only meant to hit her once, but then she started screaming.
Yeah.
I had to shut her up.
Yeah, that's true. So you panicked. And what I really liked about it was during the actual game, all the other players are like, Tom, do this, do that.
It was like The Price is Right
Yeah,
when the audience is shouting out ideas.
Exactly. And I really loved how everyone was on their toes, just like they couldn't believe what was going on.
I believe Patrick was actually standing up at that point.
Yeah, I think so. And so I had everyone shut up and just tell them like, Tom, you're on your own. No one's gonna help. No metagaming. And so you were panicking. The woman, is dead at your feet. Your second victim. And so I think I had another luck check for you. And
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you freaking did. And her fiance decides to come in to see what's taking so long.
Yeah, that was great. And he finds her dead body, and it's only then your luck started to change, and you made some really good Dex times 5 rolls to escape. So you narrowly escaped getting caught by the fiance.
Yeah, only covered in blood, brain, and skull fragments.
Yeah, but it was a very interesting scene. I loved how you just killed an innocent person and murdered 2 people altogether, and managed to get away. Of course, you lost quite a bit of sanity. I think your character was pretty close to 0 sanity by that point.
Yet I lasted another session.
Yeah, and then.
But even more funny is none of the people in the group really asked me what happened.
Yeah, at this point, there was so much crazy stuff going on. Tom's incident wasn't even like the most unusual. It was pretty bad, but it wasn't as bad as I think Curie's character was eaten by the fog monster because she just rolled horribly. I didn't even mean to kill anybody with the fog monster.
You kept making the checks easier, and she kept failing.
Yeah, it's like Dex times 5. Oh, powered. You just.
But yes, we still talk about my murder of the innocent woman.
Just those few minutes where everybody's like, "Oh, do this," and Tom was like, I kill her. He hit her again.
I challenge anyone to say they would not have done the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I only regret not having a gun
And
at the time.
the thing was, you didn't want to lose that character because he had the freaking magic spell that you could kill people with it. And
yes, I admit, getting a magic spell that kills in Call of Cthulhu is like heroin. It's gorgeous. I love it.
I to be fair, I did up the power of the shriveling spell so he could kill 2 or 3 people with it before he ran out of magic.
And
points.
let me tell you, I did.
Yeah,
I killed with it.
But
in the end, it was all right. I didn't die. I want to assure you that I was merely possessed by a serpent person.
Yeah,
and he kept showing up the whole rest of the campaign.
Yeah, that sort of made that's another story though. That's for another section. So I guess the lesson of this story is always have a backup plan when you're going to murder a cultist in the middle of a busy city at day.
Perhaps go at night, or
Yeah. Or have a silenced pistol or something, or a dart gun, or chloroform,
or a pillow. Just a good old fashioned smother them while they're asleep kind of thing.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's our first episode of RPPR. Please let us know how you feel. Leave feedback on our site. Email us at contact@slangdesign.com, and we'll get back to you. And we look forward to talking to you again.
Seriously, we love it when we get feedback.
Yes.
That's like our heroin. We need it badly.
All right. See you next time.
Later.